here a little bit early. Just want to let you know, hang tight. We're going to get started really soon here. If you guys would, go ahead and go into the question area of the webinar. Type in there and let me know that you can hear me okay and that you can see my screen. We'll go ahead and do a video audio check while we're waiting to get started here. All right, David says yes, Jeff says yes, Glenn says all okay, Hector all okay, Dennis sounds and looks good, Dave says yes, and like 20 other people. All right, I think you guys can hear it and see it and everything, so I think we're good there. Awesome, man. There's a lot of people here today. All right, well, it is at the top of the hour here. I think it's time to get started. Let me make sure I'm recording this thing. Yeah, we are recording. We're locked and loaded. We're ready to go. All right, so first thing I want you to do is focus, all right? Right now, put away the distractions. You got Chrome open, close it. You got Facebook open, close it. You got Instagram open, close it. You got your phone and people texting you, put it away where you can't even see it if they message you. Because sometimes you have an opportunity in life to really change your situation. And you don't want to be distracted when those opportunities arise, all right? So that's the first bit I just want to say to get out of the way. Second bit, let me know where you're from. Go back into that question box. I love to start just by learning where in the world everyone's coming from. It just helps me get a feel for who the audience is. And I think it's just awesome that I can teach something like this and have people from all over. All right, Bruno is from Slovakia. We got David from Las Vegas. We got Cyril from South Africa. Dave also from Las Vegas. Phildora from Maryland, Dennis from Virginia, Norman from, can't see what it says. Oh, South Beach, Miami. Norman, usually I'm in Bonita Springs, so I'm on the other coast. I'm on the Gulf side usually. I'm actually in Seattle right now. Oh, here's Francine from Washington. Speaking of Washington, I got Ira from Michigan, Gary from Fort Lauderdale, another place very close to where I'm usually at. We got Hector from Colombia, South America, Rick from San Antonio. We got Donnie from, see, where is he from? South Carolina. Tim from Atlanta. Jeff from Florida. Dan from Washington. Chris from Puerto Vallarta. We got Glenn from the Gold Coast. We got Akil from Oregon. Christian from Tennessee. Bernie from Washington. Man, there's so many people in here. James from Palm Beach. Norman from, all right, I'm going to stop reading. There's just like so many. It's ridiculous. All right, so there's a ton of people here. You guys are from all over. If you guys are ready, I'm going to jump into this thing and just get started. I know you guys came here to learn, to grow, to figure out some things. So let's get into it. Let me start my slideshow here. All right, first thing, you look at the title, 3 Secrets to a Predictable 7-Figure Digital Agency. And at first you might think that's hyperbole, that's hype, that's not real. This is just a way to get people onto a webinar. Here's the thing. By the time this webinar is over, you're going to realize that there are 3 secrets to building a predictable 7-figure digital agency. And you're not going to walk away thinking, man, Bronson's so smart, he's figured that out. You're going to walk away thinking, I'm so smart, I can totally do this. It's within reach. It's very possible, maybe even probable. Like, you're going to walk away realizing that as you might feel that this is hype now, you're not going to feel like it's hype in about an hour from now. You're going to realize that it's something that's very doable. Also, stick around to the end because, I got something awesome to show you guys after I'm done teaching some really awesome stuff. I have something that you might be very interested in. So even when I'm done with the education piece, stick around a little longer. I got a little something. All right, so 3 secrets to a predictable 7-figure digital agency. Now, before we jump in, tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm Bronson Taylor, and I'm the author of the definitive Guide to Growth Hacking, along with Neil Patel. It's been downloaded and read over 500,000 times. It's the first book on growth hacking, and it's really where a lot of marketers cut their teeth learning about the new era that we live in, because things are different now than they have ever been. Also, I'm the co-founder and host of Growth Hacker TV. So I've had the amazing privilege of interviewing over 180 of the greatest growth minds on the planet. These are the people that grew Dropbox and LinkedIn and Twitter. People like Guy Kawasaki, Steve Blank, Eric Ries. I mean, the who's who of Silicon Valley and growing startups. I've had a chance to sit down with them for 30 minutes or an hour and just really pick their brain and figure out how they see the world. And a lot of their insights have shaped who I am. And a lot of that's going to come out in this training that I'm doing right now. Also, my work has been written about in a lot of mainstream books that you can buy at Barnes & Noble right now. Ryan Holiday wrote about me in Growth Hacker Marketing, Laura Bush in Lean Branding, and Ted Coyne in A World Gone Social. And so I want to show that because the things I'm doing, they've really broken into the mainstream. People have noticed that the way I think about business and the way I accomplish things within my business are unique and noteworthy, and they want to tell their readers about them. And so again, these are things you could buy in Barnes & Noble right now. And then also, I had the privilege of going through Techstars, the Chicago Techstars program, and I actually got to go back last year as a mentor. And I love telling people that my company went through Techstars because it's easier to get into Harvard than it is to get into Techstars. So I wear that with a badge as a badge of honor. I think it's really awesome that me and my co-founders and our team were able to actually go through that program. So that's a little bit there. A few places that I've been mentioned. I've been written about in Inc. magazine. I was on the front page of the Chicago Tribune. I had a full page spread in the middle of Esquire magazine. I had a few episodes on the Discovery Science channel about one of my products. I've been in the Huffington Post. Again, people have noticed what we're doing. And I wanted to show you that only because, a lot of people, they put together a webinar that sounds clever, but they haven't actually done anything, if you know what I mean. They haven't actually built a business using the methods they're teaching. They just know how to give a clever webinar. This is 100% opposite. I don't do webinars. I build business. And this is a webinar that's an outgrowth of what I've actually done. And when you're actually doing something noteworthy, you end up in Inc. magazine and Chicago Tribune and Esquire, and you end up on TV on the Discovery Channel. It's proof that this is the real world that I'm dealing with here. This is not just theory. This is practice. And you're going to see that as a theme throughout. I'm going to show you not only the theory and the philosophy behind it, but I'm also going to show you in practice how I built a 7-figure predictable revenue digital agency. One last quote here. This is my favorite quote. It comes from the Next Web, and the editor-in-chief of the Next Web said, Bronson Taylor has the antidote for the hype. And I want to be honest with you all, I have no idea what that quote means. I don't know what the hype is, and I don't know how you can have the antidote for it. But still, to this day, it's my favorite quote about me, so I had to sneak it in on a slide here. All right, enough about me. Hopefully there's enough social proof there. My story begins with an old beat-up Isuzu Trooper, and I'm going to teach you the 3 secrets through a story because this is something that I actually lived. This isn't again, a blog post I read and I repackaged it as a webinar. This isn't a book I read. Like what I'm sharing with you today, it's my actual life that I lived. And so my 3 secrets are going to come in story mode. And so it begins with an old beat up Isuzu Trooper. And at this point in time, a few years ago, I had $0 in revenue. I did not have a business. I had 0 clients. I had 0 leads. I had 0 prospects. And actually I had almost no experience, doing anything in the digital agency world. But what I did have is I had a kid at home, I had a wife at home, and I had to find a way to pay the bills. And so I decided I was going to get gritty. I was going to hustle. I was going to find some way to make some revenue. So I called up my brother who lived in Kentucky, and I said, hey, I got an idea. I was like, I need some revenue. You need some revenue. Let's do this. I'm going to drive around in my old beat up Isuzu Trooper, and you're going to be at home on Google Maps. And I'm going to tell you what road I'm driving on, so you could be looking at that road on Google Maps. And you're going to pull up all the websites of businesses as I pass them. And you're going to tell me if they need a new website. Maybe they need a new website because it's not mobile responsive, or it doesn't have a good call to action, or it's aesthetically dated. I don't care what the reason is. You tell me they need a new website, I'm going to pull my Trooper over, go in cold, and I'm going to try to sell them a website. That was my grand scheme. And usually there was a no soliciting sign. So I would walk right past the no soliciting sign, and it would say, hey, did you see the sign? And I was like, yeah, I'm trying to feed my wife and kid. I can't pay attention to signs like that. And they would usually let me go into my pitch then. And my goal was simple. I needed to make $4K a month. And that was so I could split it with my brother. He has $2K. I have $2K a month. And then it was enough to just, live the bare minimum. And, you can do the math, $2K a month, that's $24K a year. I mean, I'm living below the poverty line here, but that's the humble beginnings of where this whole thing started. But then the Trooper actually broke down. So I kid you not, I had to get on a Schwinn 10-speed bicycle. I'm a grown man on a Schwinn 10-speed riding around doing the same thing. I got my earbuds in my ear, and my brother's telling me, where to pull in and where to try to sell them something. And I'm riding around this bicycle. And at this point in time, I need to clue you guys in on something. So I live in Florida, right? That's where I'm at, during most of the months of the year. And in Florida, we have this little thing called the sun. And we have a lot of days that are over 100 degrees. And me on my 10-speed Schwinn riding around, I was sweating. I was sweating physically. I mean, I had like pit stains on my shirt. I mean, I looked like a disheveled mess going into these places trying to sell them a website. It was not a pretty sight. But you know what? I was also sweating in a different way. And I think this is something that you all might be able to relate to. I was sweating because I didn't know where the next sale was going to come from. I was sweating because even though I had made 4K this month, where was the 4K next month going to come from? I was going to have to get back on my bike and go find yet another client to buy yet another service from me. And it just felt like I was literally on a hamster wheel. As I was turning the pedals of that bicycle, it felt like I was on a hamster wheel. It felt like I was in the rat race. It felt like I couldn't get ahead because no matter how hard I worked in the past, I had to wake up every month and start from zero in revenue, zero in prospects, and just start the whole process over yet again. And I thought there's got to be a better way than just going to bed stressed every night because I don't know how I'm going to pay the bills next month, even if I just landed a 4K or a 6K deal or something like that. And so that's when I came up with secret number one, which is simply this. I needed predictable revenue. And I use the word predictable very purposely. I needed to know that I was going to have enough money in the future. I mean, that was the goal, right? Is not just have enough to now, but have enough for tomorrow. So I needed predictable revenue. And as I thought about it, the only way I could get predictable revenue is if I built in recurring revenue into my business. Could I somehow make it so that clients would actually pay me every month instead of just paying me these lump sums and me having to start back at zero every month? So I started really thinking about this idea of recurring revenue. And I want to show you all something that I put together. So this is a bar chart here, bar graph, and it shows you what my business looked like before I started thinking about recurring revenue. Now, I've made the numbers simple just so the math is easy. But what this shows is what it looks like when you make one-time sales. So what I mean is you go, you get a client, and you sell them something, but it's not recurring. You just charge them once for the service, and then you move on to the next client, okay? So this represents what it looks like if you make one sale every single month. So in January, you go out, you make a one-time sale, and I used $100 as my increment here. So in January, you go out, you make a one-time sale for $100. February, you go out, you make a one-time sale for $100. March, you go out, you make a one-time sale for $100. Every month, you start at zero. Every month, you got to go out and make a new sale for $100. This is what it looks like with one-time revenue. Now, I'm going to show you another bar graph, and I have changed nothing about it except the fact that the sales are recurring. The graph I'm getting ready to show you, it's still one sale per month, and the price tag on the sale is still $100. The only difference is that what I'm getting ready to show you is recurring revenue. Look at that. The only difference is recurring revenue. Let me show you again. There's one-time revenue. You go out each month, you make a sale, and then you got to start at zero the next month. This is what happens when you make that sale and it's actually a recurring revenue sale. So you go out in January and you sell something for $100 monthly. So you get to see that January money again in February and again in March and again in April, all the way through the year. You go out in February, you make a sale for $100, and then you get to see that February money again in March, again in April, again in May, all the way through the year. And so by the time you get to December, guess what? You wake up, and even if you don't do anything in December, you have no new leads, no new clients, you close no new deals, you do nothing, you take the whole month off. You know $1,100 is going to enter your bank account because the work you've done in the previous year is compounding, and you're now reaping the benefits of the work you've already done, whether you decide to work today or this month or not. This is a huge breakthrough in terms of thinking in terms of how you approach your business. Now, just imagine for a second that these are not $100 sales. Imagine they're $200 sales. Imagine they're $400 sales. This is very doable. You can make a $200 sale every month. You can make a $400 sale every month. And yet by the end of the year, that's 4 or 5 grand coming into your account, whether you work or not. You have to start thinking about recurring revenue if you want predictable revenue. Now, let me show you this. Whenever you see one of these screens, I would recommend taking a screenshot. This is where I really pack a punch of knowledge. I really distill down the essence of what I'm trying to teach into just the basic words to summarize it. So here's the old way of thinking when you're not trying to get predictable revenue, when you're not worried about recurring revenue. The old way is you pitch projects. And what I mean is this. You get a new client and you say to that client, you know what? You're a unique snowflake and I'm going to put together a project just for you. It's a project I've never done for anyone else. And it's going to be things we may or may not have ever done before. But this is a project we've specifically, uniquely put together for you. And in that project, you sell hours. You say, look, it's going to take us X number of hours to do this project. And therefore, here's the price tag of this. And the price tag is large. You're trying to get as much money as you can from every single client. Because, why wouldn't you, right? But again, I'll show you why in a minute. So you're pitching projects. Projects are based on your hours that it's going to take. You're trying to make as much money as possible with large prices on this project. And you build them one time. Now, maybe you build them twice because you break it up in payments, right? You pay me half now and half when I'm done, but you're not doing a recurring revenue, right? You're just being billed once. You might just break it into 2 payments. So that's the old way of thinking. And a lot of people that are freelancers, a lot of people that are running agencies, a lot of people that are consultants and, trying to pitch services possibly, this is what you're currently doing. And it looks right. It feels right. It's what all your friends are doing. And I'm here to tell you, it's 100% wrong if you want to build predictable 7-figure digital agency. Here's the new way, right? The new way is you don't pitch projects, you pitch packages. And here's the difference. Remember, a project is, client, you're a unique snowflake. Let me put together something for you I've never done for anybody else. A package is very different. A package is when you go to a client and you say, okay, I've heard your needs. I've heard your pains. I understand what kind of situation you're in. I think you would be a great candidate for this package that we do for a lot of our clients. It's a package that really has helped a lot of our clients, and I think you would also get benefit from it. And that package is not something unique to that client. It's something you do for a lot of your clients. And I'll tell you why that's a big deal in just a minute. But in this package, you don't sell hours. You sell deliverables, right? Because think about it. Why does it matter how long it takes you? They just want to know, what am I getting for my money? If I give you X, what do I get in return Y? It's a simple equation. No client has ever woken up and said, you know what, today I really want to buy some hours. I just want to buy someone's man hours. I just want to pay somebody to do something and use their hours up. That's not ever the goal. It's just a means to an end. So why are you selling hours when really they want deliverables? So you pitch them a package that you do for a lot of your clients, and you sell them deliverables. Here's what you get when you pay me money. And you make the price smaller. Now you may think, why in the world would I make it smaller? Well, for a couple of reasons I'll tell you later. But the main one is you're going to bill them monthly, right? That's the difference. Instead of billing them one time, you bill them every month. And now you get to see that revenue every single month. But if you have a high price tag on it, they're not going to do it. No one's going to pay you $3,000 every month from now on for some crappy service, right? You've got to make it something that is worth what you're selling. The price has to be aligned with what you're actually pitching. Here's the benefit. When you start thinking about your freelance career, when you start thinking about your agency in this new way, when you go from projects to packages, you finally gain efficiencies. Now you become good at your craft because you're doing the same thing over and over. You find shortcuts. You find ways to save money. You find ways to get incremental improvements for the client. You actually get good at what you're doing because you're not doing something different for every new client. You're doing something that works for a lot of your clients. You get efficient. And when you go from selling hours to selling deliverables, it increases your earning potential because unless you know something I don't know, you only have 24 hours in a day. So that means your earning potential, if you're selling hours, is 24 times your hourly rate. But now you don't have that ceiling because you're selling deliverables. And so you can make as much as you want because your package are not based on your 24-hour a day potential. So it increases your earning potential. When you go from larger prices to smaller prices, it makes it an easier purchase. Now, in the old way of thinking, you're like, no, I need to keep all that money. I need to charge as much as possible. But remember, we're all about December. We're all about the compounding effects of what you've done all year long. We're building the future in a smarter way than most people are able to. And so we're going to make a smaller price, which lets us undercut the competition and get the deal done. And we get to see the money every month. It's a win-win for everyone, right? It's an easier purchase. And when you go from billing them once to billing them monthly, you get the thing that we're after, recurring income. So you can wake up knowing that past effort is putting money into your account today, and that's a beautiful thing. All right, so let me show you some real-world examples of how I created packages. I've shown you the theory, I've shown you the philosophy, but like I said, this is a webinar of what I actually did. So I had a brand called Growth Geeks, and I started packaging my services. And so instead of saying to a client, here's a project just for you, I would say, hey, you sound like you would be a good fit for this package called Twitter Growth Engine. Or I would say, hey, it looks like you would be a good fit for this package called Monthly Email Newsletter. Or you would be a good fit for this package, Facebook Ad Management. And notice the similarities in all these packages. I'm following my own advice here, right? So it's not a project, it's a package. It's not based on hours. They don't care how many hours these things take me. They're buying deliverables. They're buying results. So they're buying how many Twitter followers can I get you? Or how many monthly email newsletters do I send out? Or, how much spend do I manage on Facebook ads? They're buying an actual thing that's tangible. So it's a package. They're buying deliverables, not hours. Notice the prices, $49 a month, $149 a month, $249 a month. These are not normal agency prices. I'm not trying to get them for $2,000 today because I'm going to get them for $2,000 over the course of a year, but it's going to compound and give me predictable revenue in the process. So I have a lower price, but it's also recurring. All my competitors are trying to get all the money right now, and they're losing the clients to me because I'm charging a lower price, but giving them the same value, and I'm able to do it because I have past money coming in, so I don't have to have money from this client today to pay all the bills. I get to use previous compounding recurring revenue clients so that I can undercut the competition today, and then they just add to the effect. And so it's a beautiful system when you put it all together, right? And this is something that's doable by anybody, but people don't do it because they're stuck in the old way of thinking. And I started thinking, okay, if I'm doing it with my marketing services, can I also do it with my design services? And so also, or actually with my content services. So I had the brand Word Geeks. So I went and I actually made packages around my content services. Again, it's not based on hours. It's not based on those kinds of things. They just give me a monthly price, and I give them a certain set of deliverables, and it's a recurring fee. So I'll do a weekly LinkedIn article of 500 words for $2.99 a month. I'll do 90 Facebook posts a month for $2.69. I'll do a monthly blog post, 1,000 words for $1.79. And all of a sudden, you got real revenue coming in when you sell a couple of these things. And then I started thinking, well, I did it with marketing. I did it with content. Can I do it with design? So I also own Design Geeks. So I started doing it with design. And I started packaging up my design, my social media covers. I would do that for $79 a month. Every month you get a new social media cover. My infographics, I would do it for $149 a month. Every month you get a new infographic. So I thought I had it all figured out. I mean, at this point in time, I cracked the first secret. I had predictable revenue because I found a way to do recurring revenue. And the way I did recurring revenue is I stopped messing around with packages, with projects, and I started creating packages. I started having lower price points, but they were recurring, and they were buying deliverables instead of hours. I figured it out. I had recurring revenue, right? And then this happened. So I already had one kid at home. My wife came home from the hospital with twins. And if you know anything about twins, they are all consuming. I mean, your life gets turned upside down in about 3 seconds when you bring home twins. So I ran into a new problem, and I needed to figure out the second secret, which was time control. I literally lost control of my time. The life I was living was a shadow of what it should have been, right? And so let me walk you through how I felt internally. I'm going to show you a pie chart here. This is not a mathematical pie chart or a scientific one. This is a pie chart that shows you my inner emotion. So it felt like clients needed about 49% of my time. Because remember, I had sold a lot of these recurring revenue packages. So that means I had a lot of work that I had to do for my clients. And so I was on the hook to do that work. I had sold these packages. So yes, I had the recurring revenue, but a lot of the work came along with it. So clients needed about 49% of my time. Well, guess what? My family needed about 49% of my time too. There was a lot of work to be done on the home front, and I didn't want to shy away from that. So I essentially had, again, my emotional internal state here. It felt like I had about 2% to myself to eat and sleep and recover and rejuvenate and have hobbies and whatever. 2% is not enough. And so I needed to find a way to get in control of my time. And so I went back to the packages, right? So let's revisit these: Twitter Growth Engine, monthly email newsletter, Facebook ad management. And I actually have a lot more packages than these. I'm just using these as an example, right? Right now, I actually have about 100 different packages. So Twitter Growth Engine, I started thinking about it, and I realized there are other agencies that I know. I know them personally. I like them. I trust them. And they do this exact service. In fact, it's all they do. They just do Twitter growth. So I reached out to the CEO of one of these services, one of these agencies, and I said, hey, this is all you guys do is Twitter growth. You know, I have all these clients that are paying me monthly for Twitter growth. So I said, what do you think about me and you having a deal where you service all my clients because this is what you do, but I still keep 50% of the revenue? And he said, yeah, let's do it. I was like, what? Why? Like, what do you mean let's do it? Like, you're going to let me keep 50% of every month, so I'm still getting recurring revenue, but you're going to do all the work. You're going to manage the client. You're going to deal with their issues. You're going to take care of their needs. Like, you're going to do the work of the client relationship, and I still get to keep 50% of the revenue? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. I'm like, why? He goes, well, think about it, Bronson. He goes, our entire agency is set up to do this one thing really well. We have systems in place. We know how to do it at scale. We've already, put in the time and energy to learn this craft. So for you to add more clients to us is just a marginal increase in cost. He said, we already have the system built. So for us to add 100, 200, 1,000 new clients, it's nothing. It's what we do. And so for us to just keep 50% of the revenue makes us happy because it takes almost nothing to service all your clients. And I was like, oh, this is brilliant. So then I started thinking, could I do it with monthly email newsletter? And they said, well, it's a little too hard to do it at 50-50. They said, we'll do 75-25. You keep 25, we keep 75 because ours is more labor intensive. I said, great, sounds good. I went to Facebook ad management. I found an agency that does just Facebook ads. And I said, you want to do it 50-50? They said, yep, let's do it 50-50. So you keep 50% of the revenue and we'll do all the work. And I was like, this is beautiful. And so then I did that with the other services. I went down the list and I found a way to split apart who does the work and who keeps the money. And I found these trusted agencies to be behind the scenes doing all the work for my clients, but I was still keeping recurring revenue on every single sale that was coming in. So again, here's one of these that I would recommend screenshotting. It's the old way, it's the new way, right? And again, the old way is going to feel right, 100% wrong. So here's the old way. You do 100% of the work yourself, and you keep 100% of the revenue yourself. You're also 100% allocated with your time. You do not have time for anything else. It's that 49, 49, 2% pie chart I showed you. You're allocated, right? But more than that, you're 100% exhausted. Even that 2% of time you get to yourself, you can't even enjoy it because you're so tired, right? That's the old way. And you think, yep, that's the way life is. You just do all the work and then you keep all the revenue. I'm here to tell you that's wrong. So here's the new way. You do 0% of the work, but you still keep 25 to 50% of the revenue. And I'll tell you right now, on average, I keep 40% of the revenue across all my services. So on average, I'm keeping 40% of the recurring revenue, but I'm not having to do any of the work. And I'm 0% allocated. Since I'm not running around answering every email from a client, setting up every new campaign in Facebook, writing every new blog post for them to post to their blog, like since I'm not actually doing all the heavy lifting, I'm not allocated. I'm not exhausted, right? I'm 0% exhausted because I'm not running around doing all the work that needs to be done. So here's the benefit. When you go from 100% work to 0% work, well, that's the holy grail. You figured out how to make money without working. I mean, that's the benefit. When you go from 100% revenue to keep it on average 40% of the revenue, here's the brilliance in this. You have now separated work from revenue. See, most people think it's really smart to separate your hours from your revenue. Don't trade time for money. Don't just have an hourly rate and let that be what your revenue is based off of. I agree. That's a great insight. I mean, I showed you that insight on the last slide like this, right? Here's the real brilliant insight, though. Instead of just separating your hours from your revenue, why don't you separate work itself from your revenue? Now you're really thinking like a boss. Now you're really thinking like an entrepreneur when you don't even have to work and money's coming into the bank account. That's a whole different level of owning the game, right? And when you go from 100% allocated to 0% allocated, you have time for priorities. I don't know what is important to you, but I guarantee you this, you're not spending as much time doing it as you want to, right? I wanted to spend time with my family, but I was too busy chasing all the clients. Now, I'm actually able to travel with my family, spend time with them, and do what I want to do. Every summer, we pick a new city, and we just go there and hang out and spend time together, and it's awesome. So last year, we did Chicago. Right now, I'm in Seattle. We've been here all summer. I still got a few weeks left before I head back to Florida. I have time to do those kinds of things. And before I had set up the system, there was no way that my summers would look like this. I'd be too busy just running around doing all the work of the client relationship. And when you go from 100% exhausted to 0% exhausted, it gives you a quality of life. You know, it's funny. Most people have never experienced a day in a long time where they're actually not tired. And so when they actually have money coming in, but they're not exhausted and tired, they're like, whoa, this is like a new level of existing. It feels so different. They can't even use their old categories to talk about it. And so that's what can happen. You can have a quality of life that is substantially and categorically different than it currently is. All right, so again, I thought I had it all figured out. I had the first secret down. I had recurring revenue. It was predictable. I knew there was money coming in. I had the second secret figured out. I was in control of my time because I had trusted, vetted agencies doing the work for me behind the scenes, but I was still keeping the recurring revenue. I thought I had it all together. Then a new problem emerged that I didn't see coming, and it was that the system itself was complicated. Okay, so let me explain what I mean. So I would get a new customer, and I would have to keep track of it in Excel. So I'd open up Excel, I'd write down who the customer was. I would also have to write down which agency is serving that customer. I would have to write down what the cut is that I've agreed to with that agency. I had to keep track of every client relationship inside of Excel, who's current customers, who's canceled and are no longer current customers, all that stuff. And whenever I wanted to pay the worker, I had to log into PayPal, pay these agencies their fee, keep track of it, hope I don't send them the wrong amount because I'm manually entering all this stuff in PayPal all the time. I'm in QuickBooks, keeping track of my accounting, make sure everything's straight. Every time I want to add a new package, I'm in WordPress and Media Temple, so I can create a new package to add to the website, a new set of things that I'll sell for a fixed price. Whenever I want to see how things are going, I'm logging into Barometrics to look at my metrics. And the worst part of all is Gmail. Every time I got a new client, I'm having to connect the client with the agency over email. I'm not getting blind carbon copied. I'm in the middle of every communication. The whole thing's a mess. Essentially, now I got sucked back in to not having control of my time because the system itself was too manual. I was having to do everything myself. I was literally waking up, logging into half a dozen different tabs, clicking here, clicking there. I became a robot just doing all this like manual input all the time. And so that's when I came up with the third and final secret, which is automated processes. I knew that if I could automate all the processes of this business, that I would have truly created something special because it was now a system that gives you recurring revenue and allows you to keep control of your time. And if all the processes are automated that do that, now we've got magic, right? And so I was dead set on automating these processes. So I made a list of all the processes I want automated, and I wanted it to be a website builder. And I was imagining what the software could be. I never wanted to log into WordPress ever again. I want to build my website in this software. I don't want to log into WordPress to add packages. I want to add packages that I'm selling in this software. I want the software to be able to let me assign workers and their cuts to the packages. It already knows what the package is. It already knows what I'm charging for it. I should be able to assign workers to the package right there in the software and tell it, oh, this worker is going to get 50%. This worker is going to get 40%, whatever. It should be a customer checkout. As soon as I make a package live, it should also give the customer a cart to buy that package. I shouldn't have to send them a link with PayPal to like let them buy the package or some other ridiculous solution. It should be a communication tool. This software should make it so that whenever a customer buys, they're automatically in communication with the worker, and the work is just starting. It's on demand. They're not having to wait for me to make a connection and then them to check their calendar and get back to them, blah, blah, blah. It should just be like, oh, you just bought? Let's talk. Here we are, right? It should be a communication tool. Also, it should manage payouts. It knows how much I owe all the workers, and so why not just send them money? Like, this is what software does. I shouldn't have to do it myself manually. It should track all the forms for the workers, 1099 stuff. Like, I shouldn't be messing around with that kind of stuff. It should be fully hosted. I never want to log into Media Temple again. And it should keep track of all my sales metrics. It should show me how my business is doing. That was my wish list. That's what I wanted my software to be. And so at this point in time, we had grown the company to where we actually had 3 full-time developers. So I called up the developers and I said, hey, what are your all's thoughts on Naples, Florida? And they started laughing. They said, why, Bronson? I said, well, I want to fly you guys down here. I'm going to lock you in a beach house that I get on Airbnb in Naples, and you're not going to leave until you've automated all the processes of our business. And they were like, yeah, that's going to be crazy. Like, our business has a lot of moving parts. I said, yeah, I know. I made a list. So what do you guys think? And they were like, all right, it's going to be hard, but let's do it. So I flew them down. I gave them the keys to Airbnb, and this is an actual photo of them mapping out the first version of our database to figure out how to make all of this actually work. These are 3 of the smartest people I've ever met in my life, and I'm glad that no one else was tasked in automating all these processes, because it is insanely difficult, but that's why you got 3 brilliant software engineers to do it. So they came down, and they started at the top of the list, and they just built it. They made it happen. It's a website builder. I can log into this thing they built. I can WYSIWYG, drag and drop, point and click, and literally build my website with just the most ease that you can imagine. It lets me add packages. I can log in, and within about 30 seconds, I can add a new package. I give it a title. I give it a price. I mean, I hit, save. I publish it. All of a sudden, there's a new package on my website for, anyone to buy. I'm able to assign workers to it. I can go in and say, oh, the worker on this package is this person, and the worker on that package is that person, and their cut is this, and their cut is this. And it just keeps track of all that stuff. It's a customer checkout. As soon as I make a package live, there's a checkout for the customer to use to actually buy the package. It manages communication. As soon as a customer buys, it connects them with a worker, and they're instantly communicating and able to share files right there inside of the software. It manages payouts. It pays all the agencies, the workers, exactly what we owe them, when we owe them. It tracks 1099 forms, so I don't have to deal with any of that kind of stuff, and it sends them out automatically. It's fully hosted. I can go in and just tell it what domain I want these services to live at, and it instantly creates a site right there on that domain, and that's where all the services show up. It's crazy how powerful this thing is, and it gives me all of my sales metrics as well. So the developers literally start at the top of the list, work to the bottom, and they automated all the processes of our business. When they showed it to me, I could not believe it. I feel like that somebody had just handed me, like I said before, like magic. I mean, that's how I felt. I still do. So these are 3 secrets. Again, to recap. Predictable revenue. You shouldn't be chasing clients so that you can pay the bills. You should be getting new clients because you're adding to your already predictable revenue. That's a different way of thinking, okay? You got to get control of your time. If you're doing the work, you're doing it wrong. You got to get other people that you trust who can actually do the work better than you because it's all they do, and you take a piece of it, right? You should not be running Facebook ads and writing content and managing social media unless you want to be stuck forever not having a predictable seven-figure digital agency. And the third thing is you got to automate all your processes. Everything you're doing manually means that your system cannot scale and you cannot get to seven figures, right? You can get to maybe 5 figures, maybe 6 figures, but you're not going to get to 7 figures doing everything yourself. The system breaks. And so as you've seen, you got to get other people to do stuff. You got to get other people to do the work, and you got to automate the processes, let machines do that kind of stuff. And this is a system that I'm currently using, that I plan on using for the foreseeable future. And in 2016, I was able to bring in 1.2 million in revenue to my agency only because of these 3 secrets. So I've actually showed you what I did and what I'm currently doing. And again, I told you at the beginning that you're not going to think this is hype when you've actually seen the system unfold, that you're going to realize it's possible for you to do this the exact same way. Now, like I said, I got something to show you. So, if you want to head out now, I get it. You just came for the free education. Awesome. I taught you what I know. I didn't pull any punches, right? But I think you're already realizing that to build this system that I've built would be very time consuming and very expensive and very difficult. I mean, let's just be honest. The philosophy I taught you, I 100% agree to it. But to get to where I'm at, to where I have predictable revenue and time control and automated processes, to get to where I have all these trusted workers that I've found over the years to do the work, to get to where I've worked out all the bugs in the software. I mean, I've spent years and millions of dollars to get the system to where it's at, right? So if you want to go and recreate the wheel, you can. You now know my secrets, right? But the question I always had was, what if? What if I let other freelancers, what if I let other agencies, what if I let other consultants use my software? I mean, think about it. I've already got all the packages created, right? I've already got all the workers assigned to those packages. I already have the entire system worked out. What if I let other agencies sell my services and they keep a piece of the revenue? And then they're not having to do anything. They have us fulfilling the service. They have us taking care of all the details of paying people and who gets what amount of money. They have us taking care of customer support for that person because we've already figured out how to do all this at scale. So the question I kept coming back to is, what if I let other agencies use our magic software? And we decided to go for it. So right now, don't go to it yet, but I'll tell you where to find it. Right now, if you were to go to workify.co, that's workify.co, you would see that this is actual live software where you can use our services to power your agency. It's your brand, it's your customer, it's your business, but we're behind the scenes being your secret little workhorse, getting all the fulfillment done underneath your brand so that you can offer more services than you've ever offered, so that you can get recurring revenue, because our services are smart and that they're set up to get you recurring revenue. Our services are smart and that we charge the right amount for them. So you get to take advantage of everything I've learned instantly. You opt into this, you instantly get everything I've done at your disposal. It's your agency, but it's our services. This is a way for you to take an existing agency to the next level, right? It allows you to add more services, to serve more potential clients, to get more recurring revenue. It's also a way to start an agency. If you're a freelancer and you thought, man, I would love to have an agency where I'm selling 50 different services, but it would take forever to get there. No, it doesn't actually. If you're a freelancer and you want to start selling 50 different services, you could in about 5 minutes. And I'll show you how in a second. I mean that, like 5 minutes. Like literally, you can go from I don't have an agency to I have 50 legit amazing services that will knock it out of the park for my clients in 5 minutes. If you've ever seen anything like this, you're lying. You haven't, right? Like I built this from the ground up to serve my need because this didn't exist in the marketplace. This is something rare. This is something different. This is something crazy, right? To sell white labeled services to your clients under your brand, but we do all the work. Let me show you how it works. So when you log into Workify for the first time, it's this is amazing. Like the onboarding is one of my favorite things about this software. It says, all right, let's add some managed services, right? So you get to go through like a kid in a candy shop. And right now we have about 50 different services that our partners have access to. You're going to go through like a kid in a candy shop, and you're going to pick the services that you want to resell. You want to resell some retargeting management? Great. You want to sell some B2B leads? You want to sell some newsletter stuff? Great. You want to sell Pinterest stuff? You want to sell Instagram stuff? You want to sell Facebook stuff? You want to sell paid advertising stuff? You want to sell some landing page stuff? You want to sell logo design stuff? You want to sell infographics? You want to sell animated videos? You want to sell fill in the blank? We probably have a gig for it. And so you're instantly able to sell 50 different services to your existing clients or to new clients. You just go through and pick out the ones you want to resell. That's step one. How awesome is that? Step two, you come in here and you tell us, where do you want these services to live? You have two different options, really. I'll tell you the two ways people use this. Option one is they go through and they actually create a website using our system right here that I'm showing you, and they present that website to their end customer. And so their end customer can go right to that website that's under their brand and buy services. The other way that some agencies do it is they actually use the website as an internal tool. So they don't publish the website for their customers. They just use it as something that they know how to get to, and they buy off of our service and then resell to their customer. And it gives them more control if that's what they want, right? Because maybe they're bundling this with a service they're already offering that client or whatever. So those are the two ways to do it. But either way, you get to decide what domain this thing lives at. Whether you make it a public-facing thing or just an internal tool for you, you decide what domain it lives at. And you can throw any domain you want at it. It could be a new domain that you just bought off GoDaddy. It could be a subdomain of your existing website. Whatever you throw at it, it works, right? And again, this is fully white labeled, your brand. They don't know what Workify is. Your clients don't. They don't know who I am. They're not going to see our stuff. They're going to see your stuff. So you pick the domain. Then you upload some images. We ask you, what's your logo? What background image do you want on this site? Again, it's based on your brand. You upload the images. Then remember that homepage builder that I talked about? You have access to that. You're going to go in here and you're going to drag and drop, WYSIWYG, point and click, and you can create a homepage to do what you want it to do. Do you want a one-column section here? Do you want a two-column section here? Do you want to drag that section above that section? You want to drag a photo over? You want to put in a quote from one of your clients that love your service? Whatever you want to do. I mean, WordPress eats your heart out. You wish you were this easy, right? They overcomplicate everything. We know what works. We know what sells. And we make it super easy to build that kind of website with just dragging stuff around. So you build out your website. And here's a little pop-up, like if you were to click that you wanted a two-column section, then it pops up and says, all right, what do you want the section to have? An image and some text? Do you want the image on the left or the right? I mean, it's a beautiful interface. It's so easy to use throughout our app. Then we actually give you a place called Custom Head where you can drop in your own custom code. And this is important because maybe you want to include Google Analytics on your site. Maybe you want to include Intercom on your site. Maybe you want Sumo on your site. Maybe you want something else. You can go in here, drop in JavaScript, and then across the site that you built using Workify, you have your own stuff in the head so that you can track things you need to track and you can add functionality that you need to add, whatever. We make it really work for agencies because, again, I started out as a small local agency. I know what you need, and I'm giving those tools back to you so that you can really get to the next level without having to reinvent the wheel. Here's one of the coolest things. You're absolutely going to love this. I know you're thinking something. You're thinking, all right, if I send my clients directly to this site and they buy from this site, how do I know what's being said? How do I know I can trust these workers? How do I know, what they bought? Here's the thing. We give you 100% transparency into everything. So here's an example. Someone buys a service. You log in and you see that you have a new customer. You get their email address. You get their name, so you can reach out to them and try to sell them more stuff or just, whatever. Also, you get to eavesdrop on the conversation. You're going to watch what our workers said to your customers at every step of the way. You're going to see what files they shared. You're going to see everything because we have such a faith and a trust in our workforce that we are okay with you seeing every single piece of communication so that one, you can also trust them, but two, it keeps you in the loop as the agency owner. You're going to know what's being said to your customers so that when your customer has a question for you, you know how it fits into the big scheme of things, or you know how to upsell them based on their pains, or you know what other thing they should be buying based on their pains, and you can try to get them to buy that off your Workify site as well. It just keeps you in the loop, it keeps you in control, and it keeps you trusting the workers behind the scenes. And the workers work in a white labeled fashion. They're not representing their own brand, they're representing you. They're saying, yeah, I'm a worker that works with fill in the blank agency. We do work for them in this area, and we have a great relationship with them, and I'm happy to get started on your stuff. They know how to do the white label game. And here's maybe the best part, the sales dashboard, right? You log in, it tells you how your Workify work is going. You can see how much revenue you made. You can see how much recurring revenue you have, so you know what you can expect every month. I mean, imagine logging into this and it's saying that you have, $4,790 that's in monthly recurring revenue. That next month, you're going to make that much whether you do anything. So you know what? Go have a vacation. Go spend some time with the family. Go do whatever it is that you want to do. Go chill on a beach, sit Mai Tais. I don't know, whatever floats your boat, right? But you got almost $5,000 coming in without doing anything new. And this is a system built to make that MRR go up. It's a system built to finally give you the freedom that agency owners usually don't have. And you want to hear a crazy side note? So a lot of agency owners know they're trapped because it's hard to sell an agency. Essentially, you stop working and all the clients go away. You don't actually have an asset that you can sell. It's hard to sell an agency to someone else because you are the agency. Here's what's crazy though. You use my system and you get enough recurring revenue. Now all of a sudden you can actually sell your agency. You can go and say, look, here's my last 12 months of revenue. We have a lot of monthly recurring revenue and it goes up every month. You can see our last 12 months of revenue and we will sell it on a multiple of that. So we will sell this agency for 5x our yearly revenue or 10x our yearly revenue, whatever it might be. But now all of a sudden, you're building an asset that can actually be sold that you can exit instead of just building yourself a job, which is what you normally do in the agency world. So this little dashboard right here, it's more than just showing you your sales, even though it is. It's showing you how you can exit this thing, how you can actually cash in for a large paycheck in 3-4 years if you put in the time now to really ramp up that recurring revenue. Again, that's a side note, little extra tidbit for you there, but I think you'll find that valuable. But you track all your sales. Let me show you a real example. This is someone that actually uses Workify, and this is the site they have built using our software. Everything you see here is out of the box, what they've done using our software. They just gave me permission to do shots to show it off. So first thing you're going to notice, the domain. It doesn't say Workify. It doesn't say anything about Bronson. It doesn't say anything about Growth Geeks or Design Geeks or Word Geeks. This is your thing. This is white label. This is all you. You pick the domain. Next, you'll notice a logo. That's their logo. That's not my logo. So this is under your brand. Next thing you'll notice is headline and subhead. You just logged in using our website builder and gave it a headline, gave it a subhead, hit save. It was easy. That simple, right? They gave it a background image you see there. That's not my background image. Here's another crazy thing that you probably haven't realized yet. We are managing live chat for you on this site, right? So if you choose to make this a public-facing site that you show your clients and not just an internal tool, we're going to manage the live chat for you. So when a potential client comes to your site and they have a question about one of the services, one of our experts is there to answer it on your behalf. And so you're going to get us who know these services inside and out. We've been obsessed with them for years. We know how to answer the question and we know how to get the sale. We're going to be there on your behalf running a live chat. Tell me what kind of service does that? I mean, seriously, where do you go on the internet and buy a service for your agency where you actually get access to the packages, you get access to the workforce, but you also get access to the customer support? I mean, most of the tools for agencies are like just little add-ons, like, hey, here's a better way to invoice your clients. Hey, here's a better way to, I don't know. I mean, just like crazy, ridiculous, small, not important kind of stuff. That's what Product Hunt is filled with in the agency world. You know, this is like heavy duty, powerhouse, behind the scenes, game changing, agency revolutionizing kind of software. Okay. Like we're running your live chat. Okay. Then they click through the services. Again, this is on your site, your domain, your logo, all that stuff. But here's the services. Your clients get to browse and see all these amazing packages that you have for them. And let me point out this too. Maybe your agency already has a core competency. Let's say you do Facebook ads and you've built a business doing Facebook ads. So in your mind, you're thinking, well, I don't want your service for Facebook ads to show up because for whatever reason, that's my core thing. I don't want them to show up on this page here. Great. Just turn them off. You can go through and add or disable any service you want. You are not stuck with just what we say we do. You get to go in and make this yours. You choose what services you think your clients would want to see. You choose how you want to do this. And so you have complete control over what services show up. And then when somebody clicks on one of those services, we've designed a page to get conversions. We know what to name it. We've already put in case studies. We put in just portfolio pieces. We put in quotes. We've done what we can do to get the sale, because remember, this is how we make our revenue too. These are the same gigs we use, the same workforce we use, the same everything. So if we're going to make it work for us, by default, it's going to work for you too, because we're obsessed with how to get people to convert once they click and see one of these packages. So you're going to get to just have that at your disposal without having to build out all these pages. We've already built them. And when they click buy, it takes them to a beautiful shopping cart. They can see how much they're buying for. They can type in their credit card, complete the order. As soon as they complete that order, they are connected with a worker, and they start talking to a worker. And you're going to get a notification that says, hey, you have a new customer. Why don't you log in? You can watch the communication. You can see your new sales and how your MRR is growing, and now you're getting predictable revenue. The whole thing just falls into place. All right, so let me recap here. Here's what you do. You direct people to your site. Or if you use it as an internal tool, you just buy off the site that you built and then resell it to your clients. But you just direct people to your site. That's it, right? Here's what we are going to do. We are going to provide you with a white labeled site that you can build using our software in just a matter of minutes. We are going to create all the gigs. We currently have about 50. We are adding new ones every week. These are gigs that make sense. These are gigs that are in demand. We have more data on the kinds of stuff that people want to buy than almost anyone in the world. So we know exactly what is in demand, what is out of demand. So we create all the gigs. We source the workers. We're the ones finding the agencies behind the scenes that can do this work exceptionally well. We're the ones making sure that everything is on the up and up with the workforce. We manage the live chat. Also, we manage all customer support. So another thing I throw in here, we actually give you an email address that is your white labeled email address for our support. So when someone emails that white labeled email address, our customer support is going to take care of your email support. So even if it's not on live chat and it's through email, we still got your back. We're taking care of the support on that as well. We pay all the workers. You don't have to manage the workforce at all. You don't have to source them. You don't have to interview them. You don't have to find the ones that are competent to do this work. You don't have to pay them when it's over. You don't have to send them 1099 forms. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't do anything with the workforce. That is our core competency. And we send you money after each sale. Now that's the cool part, right? You actually make money when you do this. You're actually going to make money when you sell these services to your clients. And let me go into that a little bit more. So you get 50% of the profit on each sale. Now let me break down this math to make it super clear, okay? So here's what I mean when I say you get 50% of the profit. Let's say you made a sale for $100. Just to keep the math really easy. It would be the same if it was $250 or $500, but let's just say it's $100. From a $100 sale, on average, I'm going to pay the worker $60. All right, on average, our workforce keeps about 60%. So what that means is there's $40 left over for you and me to split. You're going to get 20, I'm going to get 20. See what I'm saying? So when I say you get 50% of the profit, what I mean is After I pay the worker their 60%, you are going to get half of what's left. I'm going to get half of what's left. And here's why that's awesome. That means you're making about 20% of the sale price. If something sells for $100, you're going to get about 20 bucks. Something sells for, $200, you're going to get about 40 bucks. That's a 20% profit margin. The average agency profit margin is like 15%. So you're going to get a better margin than you would normally when you sell these services, but you don't have to source the workers. You don't have to manage the client. You don't have to figure out a way to offer all these services at the same time to the varying needs of your client. So you're actually going to get a better profit margin than agencies do on average, but you don't have to do any of the legwork to get it. It's amazing. You're going to get 50% of the profit. And our workers have an average rating of 4.6 stars. I said before, these are the actual literal workers that do stuff for my clients, the ones that allowed me to get over $1 million in revenue in 2016. So of course they can't be crappy, right? They can't be bad because this is the ones that I'm relying on too to make my money. So you get great workers because I need great workers for my own business. So this is what I call, or the triple win. It's a win for your agency, it's a win for your customers, and it's a win for Workify's business. Here's how it's a win for your agency. You get predictable revenue. You finally are going to have recurring revenue. You can have thousands coming in every month without having to figure out how to chase the next client. And you get it without doing any additional work. We've already created the services. We've already sourced the workers. We do the customer support. We handle all the heavy lifting behind the scenes. You just bring us the client. Whether you show them the site directly or whether you use the site as an internal tool to buy for them, you don't do anything except bring the client, and we take care of all the heavy lifting behind the scenes. You become a full service agency overnight. Right now, maybe you offer one service. Maybe you offer 5 services. I guarantee you don't offer 50. And if you do offer 50, I guarantee you don't do them all very well. We do 50 services at scale, and we do them amazingly because we've used technology and we've used insights to actually build this business, not just let's work harder. We've actually used the things at our disposal to do this. Also, it's a win for your customers. You're providing them with the services they want. No longer do you have to turn them down or tell them to go to some other agency that does that or just leave money on the table. You get to give them the services they want. And it's fulfilled by high-quality workers. Here's the crazy thing. The way our system is built, the work will probably be done to a higher degree than you could have done it yourself because no one can do all of these things well. But our system is built so that no one has to do all these things well. The agencies that have that as their main thing fulfill it for the other agencies who don't. And we give money back guarantees. We don't try to keep your customers' money when they're not happy, when they don't get what they were buying, when they don't get what the service said they would get. So we know that in the agency world, keeping clients happy is paramount, most important thing ever. And so we make sure we do all we can to keep your clients happy because in the process, we're keeping our own clients happy. That's what they need from us as well. And it's a win for Workify's business because it gives me a new way to distribute our gigs. It adds additional revenue to our business. And here's something I've learned. You have to work with great partners to get to the next level. Remember that insight where I got other people to do the work, but I still kept some of the revenue? That insight is because I realized I needed to work with great partners. And this is the same thing. I'm working with you on the client relationship side because that's how everything's going to go to the next level. That's how you're going to grow your business and mine. You're working with me and you get access to this amazing on-demand workforce that you couldn't build yourself very easily. And what I get is the in-client relationship that you've built. And so together we can build a great business, but we have to work with great partners to do that. And that's me and you working together. All right. So one of the questions is, what are we going to charge for this? Okay. So you think about it, you're getting access to our technology that does amazing things in terms of routing things to the right worker, communication, payouts, you name it, website building tools, all that. You're getting our technology. You're getting our workers, which is priceless. I mean, I have sourced these workers for about 3 years now, and to have that much time put in to having a great workforce is something that's hard to recreate. You're getting our support. We know these services inside and out. You're going to get our support, and so that you can really rest assured that your clients are getting their questions answered and being taken care of. You're also getting recurring revenue. You're going to be able to build up a recurring revenue stream right away when you start sending your clients to that site or start purchasing on their behalf, right? And you're getting a proven system. Again, this isn't some idea I had last week. Oh, this will make a cool webinar. Like, this is a proven system. Years of revenue. It's done over $1 million last year for one specific agency. This is not something that we're testing out. This is something that works, that we're all in on, and that you're getting to come into that proven system. So what should we charge for this? At first when we came out with this, we were charging $2,148 a year. That was a yearly price, and we had a lot of people that pay it and love that price. But the more we thought about it, we said, we got to make this like a price that really lets it revolutionize the industry. I want everyone to be able to afford this and buy into this, because I know that I want my legacy to be the number of people that I helped to get freedom, the number of agencies that I helped get to the next level, the number of clients that I was able to make happy. And so I wanted to bring the price down. So it's not going to be $2,000 a year. The price is actually less than $1,200 a year, $1,188 a year. Now think about that. Whatever revenue you're going to make this year, I guarantee that spending $1,200 of it is supremely worth it. I mean, if somebody had come to me, when I was riding around the Isuzu Trooper and they said, hey, we got a system, it's going to get you 3 years ahead of schedule, and it's going to get you recurring revenue that's eventually going to give you over $1 million in revenue, and it only costs $1,200, I would have been like, that's amazing. Like, where do I sign up? What do I do? Even though I'm broke, I would have found a way to do it, right? That's what I would have done if somebody had come to me years ago saying that this thing was fully built. They didn't, so I had to do it. I had to figure out the secrets. I had to figure out the developers. I had to make enough money to afford the developers and to build the system. Like, I had to do it all from scratch, from nothing, 0 clients, 0 revenue, and the beat up Isuzu Trooper, right? You don't have to. You get to come in and just do it for $1,200 a year. But then I started thinking, all right, but this is the webinar. I mean, there's got to be a better deal for the people that take time out of their schedule to come onto this webinar and to try to get their agency to the next level. So here's the deal. It's not going to be $1,200 a year. Actually, for right now, it's going to be 58% off of our normal price. This is 58% off of the price that you would get if you just went to workify.co right now. You're not going to see this posted anywhere because it's not posted anywhere. It's just on the webinar. You're going to get it for $499 a year. For $499 a year, you're going to get access to our technology, our workers, our support. You're going to get recurring revenue in a proven system for $499 a year. Are you kidding me? And if you want to take advantage of that, here's the link to go buy. It's at bit.ly/Andrew499. bit.ly/Andrew499. And you need to pay attention to this part right here. This cart is only open until Sunday at midnight. So Sunday at midnight, I'm pulling the cart down, and you're going to have to buy it for regular price, which is 58% more than this price. It will be the only way to get in and actually use Workify. So don't wake up on Monday and think, oh, I should have done it. Because on Monday, you're paying 58% more for something you were going to buy anyway, right? So don't put off the decision. Go ahead and buy, and then you have it. It's at your disposal. Even if you're going to take you a couple of weeks to get your head around it and start using it, don't wait and then miss out, because this is literally the only time until Sunday that you can get 58% off of our price. And if you don't believe me about the discount, go to the website, workify.co, look at the normal price, look at what I'm selling it for right here, do the math. It's 58% different. Don't wake up with regret on Monday. And here's the thing, you're thinking about, should you do this? I mean, how often does something like this come along? You've been to webinars before. You're on, the interwebs, looking around, seeing what software is out there. You know what's being put out and what's possible. I promise you're not seeing anything like this. You're not seeing this kind of technology. You're not seeing an on-demand workforce at your disposal. You're not having other people manage it. You're not getting a recurring revenue in a proven system. This doesn't exist. And I'm offering it for $499 a year. So don't miss out on this. The card is open until Sunday at midnight. One thing I want to say is, this is great if you're an individual. If you're an entrepreneur, a freelancer, a consultant, you can use this as an individual to look a lot bigger than you are, to have a lot more firepower than you currently have, to be able to offer more services than you've ever dreamed of. This is like instantly 0 to 1 kind of stuff. This is instantly legitimate operation from a single entrepreneur, a single freelancer, a single consultant. So if you're an individual, grab the deal. This is what you've been looking for. But here's the thing. It's also great if you're a team, if you're an agency, if you're a business. You've already got a client list. You've already got revenue. You've already got a team of 5 people, 10 people. Great. Now offer these 50 plus services to your existing clients and just create more revenue off of all of your existing relationships. See what I'm saying? So this is great if you're an individual, but it's also great if you've already built a team around what you're doing. You know, this is one of the coolest things about what I'm offering is getting notifications about new recurring revenue subscriptions being bought. I took a screenshot. This is in one single day, new recurring revenue that I was making to my business. Look at the timestamps. 11:25 a.m., a new recurring revenue subscription. 11:36 a.m., a new recurring revenue subscription. This is all in one day. 1:14 p.m., a new recurring revenue subscription. 1:26 p.m., a new recurring revenue subscription. 1:55 p.m., a new recurring revenue subscription. 5:25 p.m., a new recurring revenue subscription. And 6:52 p.m., a new recurring revenue subscription. This is in one day. Imagine what happens when this compounds every single day, right? This becomes a game changer, right? Just imagine your own recurring revenue going up every time you get a new sale, and you're just watching it tick away. It's one of the funnest things. It's like a sport. It's like a game. I remember when we were first doing this, every time a new recurring revenue subscription would come in, we would like send the screenshot to our, buddy, we'd send the screenshot to the co-founder, be like, hey, look, another person for $99 a month, another person for $299 a month. And then at some point, we're just getting tired of sending screenshots. There's so many of them. That is the best feeling in the world. All right. Also, I put together a 22 module curriculum to help you all out. This goes into more detail about how I built my business, how I built Growth Geeks and Design Geeks and Word Geeks. So if you want to get more information, I'm going to throw this in for free. So as long as you buy the $499 deal before Sunday, I'm also going to give you the 22 module curriculum on how I built my businesses from the ground up. And it just goes into more detail than I could during this particular webinar, right? I just don't have enough time. Also, remember I mentioned at the beginning that I am the co-founder and host of Growth Hacker TV, where I've had the privilege of interviewing over 180 of the greatest growth minds on the planet. This is actually me with Eric Ries right here. Are you kidding me? I got to spend an hour or whatever, with Eric Ries, actually 49 minutes. I'm looking at the screenshot here. I got to spend 49 minutes with Eric Ries talking about the lean startup, talking about his critics, talking about the success stories, talking about what he wishes startups knew about it and how to use it to really grow and get to the next level. And so I have all of these episodes at my disposal. So here's what I decided to do. If you buy before Sunday, I'm going to give you a free lifetime account to Growth Hacker TV. Normally that's $49 a month. I mean, go to growthhacker.tv right now. Look at it. There is no plan that's free. There is no plan that's cheaper than $49 a month. So you are going to get Growth Hacker TV free for life. And I don't even know how to put a value on that. I mean, how do you put a value on something that's free for life when it's normally $49 a month? That's like one of those things you put in a calculator, it gives you an error because it's like infinite value, right? And you're going to get that as well if you buy the $499 plan before Sunday. So again, go to bit.ly/Andrew499. And let me just summarize the deal here. You get a year of the partnership, all the stuff we talked about, the website, the workers, the support, all the stuff that this whole webinar has been about, you're getting that. That's what we call the partnership plan. You're getting the 22 module course where I show you even more behind the scenes. I did give you the 3 secrets today. Like I said, I didn't pull any punches. This just goes into more detail. And you can get free lifetime access to Growth Hacker TV, which is normally $49 a month. You're going to get all that for $499 a year. That's an insane deal. Things like this don't come along for the freelancer world. Things like this don't come along for the agency world. I've been in this game a long, long time now, and I have built something that I wanted people to walk away saying, this is special, this is unique, this is game-changing, not, oh yeah, cool software, bro. Like, I'm not looking for cool software bros. I'm looking for oh my gosh, you added zeros to my business and changed the quality of my life. That's the kind of stuff I'm looking for with this software, and we've done it. We've built it. It's live. It's ready. It's there for you. All right, this has been awesome. I want to take some time to answer some questions here. So let me pull up the question box. I'm sure you all probably have some questions. I won't be able to get all of them. I won't be able to answer every question. So let me tell you this at the beginning. You can email me your questions, Bronson@workify.co, Bronson at Workify, WRKIFY.co, Bronson@workify.co. Hit me up with a question. I'll try to get back to you. I may also skip questions as I'm looking here because maybe your question is just super niche or super specific. And by addressing it, I would actually confuse people. I've done that before where your question is so esoteric that like it doesn't help the webinar to actually answer it. Then people are just like, oh, I don't get that question. Should I understand that? And you shouldn't. So I'm just going to answer the ones that address most people's questions. And then you can email me the ones that get a little more nuance. All right. Hope you guys are cool with that. All right, so first one, can this work with customers from another language? So they have to be able to speak English, right? This whole system is built on English, and I actually built it on English as a first language. So the workers are all based in North America. We have most from the US and a little bit from Canada. They are incredibly good at communicating with English clients. So if you need a different language than English, I don't think it's going to be a good fit, right? This is for people that can really use the English language. Wow, man, there's a lot of questions coming in. All right. Second year renewal rate. Good question, Larry. I'm going to keep it at $499. You come in at $499, you stay at $499. I know that that's too low. I actually have people tell me like this is bad business, but I am going to raise it soon. I'm going to raise the monthly and the yearly price. I'm raising it all. But if you get locked in, I'm going to keep it. So if you lock in before Sunday, you're going to get $499 a year, just period. Let's see here. What else? More questions about is it, $499 every year? Yes, it is.